So in the ransom note, they ask you how and where and when and how much to pay as a ransom in Bitcoins. So they're untraceable. And once you paid it, they will provide you with the decryption key, and you can restore your file back. But obviously, you're paying the ransom. That's almost the last resort, or that's the least thing you want to do. Number one, you pay the ransom, you will fuel the attacker to launch more of this ransomware attacks. Number two is you pay the ransom, you can get your data back temporarily. However, it does not prevent you to get ransomware attack again. So one example is in 2020, there was a pretty large healthcare organization in UK. They got a pretty big ransomware attack, and they paid about £1.5 million to the attacker. And guess what? A month later, same attacker, same ransomware, same ransom again. So they paid again. So without really analyzing how ransomware got in, how to further, have a better data protection program, it will not stop ransomware. The ransomware will hurt your business. So this is a very quick stats, the recent stats of ransomware. So years back, when ransomware started each ransomware I remember asked for about $2,000 worth of Bitcoin at that time. And years later, today, on average, ransomware is asking over 150,000 US dollars on average. And also on average, it brings down the business for 21 days. So think about how can your company operate without your data, your system for 3 weeks or longer. And the pandemic is a perfect storm, which due to the pandemic, the ransomware attack increased almost 150%. And some of you may know that ransomware now becomes almost like ransomware as a service. The entry point to launch your own ransomware attack is very minimum. Anybody, any criminals, anybody with malicious intent can go to Darknet and buy the ransomware attack kit that you can launch your own attack. So with that also contributes to the very frequent of ransomware attacks down to every 11 seconds. So really the question about ransomware attack is not a matter of if ever your company will get a ransomware, but really when you're gonna get it. When you get it, what do you do? So how to combat ransomware? So throughout the years, Interware helped the businesses establish a layered defense. Some of the examples here are, for example, companies that have firewalls, have anti-spam, have endpoint detection response software installed on the computers, as well as Interware helped the company develop the incident response plan, disaster recovery plan, and train the users. So those are contribute to a layered defense. Each element will reduce the chance of getting ransomware accordingly. And with layered defense, so the probability that you get the ransomware will significantly lower. However, there's no absolute security. And plus, not all companies have all the money in the world, all the budget to implement every single defense in the way. So as the last layer of the defense, that's your backup. Backup. A good backup solution follows the 3-2-1 rule, which is 3 copies of data. So 1 copy is your production data, and you can have primary backup, you can have secondary backup. So that's 3 copies of data. And backup into different media. So you can have your primary backup, for example, on hard drives, and then your archival data on tapes. So any physical threats, environmental threats that happen to one particular media will not affect data on other media. And lastly, have at least one backup copy stored offsite. So most of the companies store their on-site backup along with the production. So if the site goes down due to disaster or the site was compromised, then you will rely on restore your data from the backup store elsewhere. So today we introduce Veeam. Veeam is the leading technology for backup solution, data protection in the world. And Interware has deployed Veeam solutions as well as managing Veeam solutions for well over 10 years. So I can say that Veeam is the proven solution of materialized ransomware attack, because this is from Interware's experience at dealing with ransomware attack that we were able to restore customers' data from materialized ransomware attack. So one of the attacks that we encountered earlier this year was by the same attacker group for the Colonial Pipeline, the dark side. And through Veeam's immutable backup technology, we were able to help the customer to restore the entire environment back. So without further ado, please let me to introduce Foreign, who is Veeam system engineer. And so Foreign will further explain how Veeam can protect your company data from ransomware attack.
All right, merci. Thank you, Paul. You guys can hear me well? Paul, can you hear me? Kate, all good? Awesome. All right, so thanks, Paul. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thanks for the introduction. So my name is Florent. It's hard to pronounce in English. Just say Flo. It goes better. Just go with the flow. Simple. We'll talk a little bit today about ransomware, right? So Paul pictured a really nice thing. It's we have to realize that ransomware is absolutely, definitely the worst thing that could happen to you, your organization, your data, your people. And overall, we just don't want this to happen. Now, you got two ways of avoiding ransomware. You just don't get connected to anything, which is kind of hard in today's world, or we're trying to find a way to be prepared, right? We need to be prepared in the event where we're faced with a situation that is really challenging, that we don't want to see, and we have our files locked. So today we'll talk a little bit about a framework. We'll give a little bit high level about 3 best practices. Frankly, it's more than 5 than 3. That's why I say 3 or more, ransomware protection. And that if you have questions, just feel free to drop them in the chat, and then we'll address them along the way. All right, so we get started. So Paul mentioned it, emerging trends all over the place, right? It's really, really, Paul was mentioning something that was really make me think, as he was saying it just now, he goes, even if you don't know anything about ransomware, even if you don't know what you're doing, but you just want to be, or somebody wants to be malicious, there is a way to get it somewhere. There's a script that sits somewhere on dark web, or even like just a regular web, where you could literally copy something and just try to blast it to someone and get malicious. We have to realize that, sometimes we just, we're faced with different things in life, and things happen, right? We don't want to be specific, right? But things happen. Or where was that? It was in Montreal, like in Quebec. There was a young kid, 6-year-old. He just was browsing over the internet. He got something, sent it to his mom on his computer, on her mom's computer. Her mom went to the office, just started to infect everything. So it's not necessarily people that are malicious or that have, bad thoughts, but just accident. Things happen, right? And it's sad, but that's the reality of things, right? So values of ransomware demands are high. Paul talked about it. An average cost about $150,000. It's a couple of millions and billions of dollars every year. It's a true business. It was a coworker here that actually told me one of the ransomware group have actually a technical support, right? So when you get encrypted and then you pay, and then you could call the technical support. Are you satisfied with our service? It's like, really, really, and managed services are the biggest vector, right? They want to target this because they have access to so much more beyond. So a lot of different trends are coming up, and we just need to be prepared. We need to be ready, and gladly, that's what we do, right? We protect. We're also looking at a very high level and deep access to the security. So a couple of ransomware attack that codeware, so an analysis, it just not necessarily means this is everything, but it gives us a true understanding of the trends that are going. Okay, we could look at email phishing, right? I'm realizing that organizations are actually training their employees about email phishing, right? And I never really realized, and by the way, I joined Veeam in July, so I come from a backup world, and I'm just drinking this world of preventing and really thinking beyond what it's going to happen, and really analyze data that are coming and really looking at report. So email phishing, I caught myself sending an email to my boss when I was during my onboarding saying, hey, I got this email. It looks weird. I just don't want to be that guy, right? So email is really, today you lose email, you lose a form of communication, but at the same time, it's such a large vector and it's dangerous. It's honestly, it's scary. Let's call it a day. The top line objective, we need to look at reliable ransomware protection. That's what we need to be focused on. We need to keep the data in a state where that data is absolutely untouchable. You cannot alter it, you cannot delete it, and only one entity has that access, and that entity is the secret key, is the key, the account that is locked down, secured somewhere, that really only one source has access to that key in order to unlock that immutable and malware safe repository. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to focus on. We'll build this one. So how do we do that, right? Here's some of the three best practices. We need to look at making our digital resilience stronger, right? So, keywords to keep in mind, ultra resilient backup, instantly recover, cloud mobility. We need to be able to go from one cloud to another. All these are allowing us to have a better posture in security and protecting our data, right? If something happened, how fast can we go back? How many points in time can we go back? How fast can we go in those points in time? Because our businesses are depending on how fast we return to operation to minimize, obviously, revenue loss, right? That it's customer buying a product or a service, or just our employees in the background that are not doing anything because all of our systems are down and we need to return to a state where they are productive. The data needs to be as well. You need to trust the backup you take, right? If you take backup and you store them somewhere, the day you need them, those backups are not working, not functional, not accessible, then it's a waste of your time, it's a waste of your money, and this is not what you want to face. You want to have safe backup, reliable backup, accessible backup, very fast, very efficient, very secure, and your data needs to be able to move fluently from your on-prem to your cloud, or even cloud to cloud mobility. So when we have this framework, we could say that we're not perfect, but we truly have a more solid posture in responding to a potential damage to our organization. We follow a nice framework. And I was about to say, I wish my boss was there because he has a nice pitch, but he is there. Hi, boss. The National Institute Standards of Technology, NIST. This is a framework that have been established, and it's a process, right? Protecting ourselves, protecting our data, protecting our organization is a process. We need to identify, And we'll go through each and every one of those steps. We need to identify, we need to protect, we need to detect, we need to respond to that threat, and we need to recover. Kate, I'm going to ask you to keep me on time here. My clock doesn't work, so tell me if I'm on time. All right, let's build this. We need to identify, okay? What are the processes, what are the assets that are the most at risk for our organization? Is everything at risk? Do we need to protect everything? And what are the risks associated with each and every one of them? Are we doing that properly? Are we doing that efficiently? Is this the right way, right? We believe that you need to understand what needs to be protected. You can't protect everything. What is core? What is fundamental to your organization? This is your own reflection. This is, a guidance. And again, everything I'm talking today is not the oracle of oracle. These are guidance. You need to take it and apply it to your own reality. But if we identify properly the processes that are the core fundamental function of our organization, on the protection side, have we implemented the right measure to protect what we have previously identified as core processes, application, systems, environment? Have we implemented the right safeguards? We detect, once you identify, you build a strategy. I identified it. This is my strategy, and my strategy to protect is this. I'm going to protect it this way for the identified processes and assets. Now, how do I make sure that I have the right tools in place to properly, efficiently identify and detect cybersecurity incidents, right? You can have the best system on the planet, but if you're unable to interpret the data that is happening beyond the scene to a human language, and you really understand what's going on in your environment, then what's the point? Because you won't be able to do anything because you won't understand what's going on. So understanding and detecting what's going on, ransomware are not coming in your organization by, either the front door or with raising flag and say, hey guys, hold on a second, we're ransomware, give me a second here. I'm going to encrypt a couple of things. Don't worry about it. Just look on the left. We're going to be working on the right. It doesn't work like that. Things happen on the cover, right? Things happen in the background. And are you equipped? And with your experience, do you have the right tools in hand to understand, detect what's going on? How do you know you're getting attacked? You, not me, not your neighbor, your organization. How do you know? Once you have detected and you look at something that is not normal, you need to respond to that, right? What do? I plug the wire, I unplug the wire, close the door. It's too late, man. They're inside. There's nothing to do. How do you respond? What do? You need to stop this. And you need to go back to a state, because typically when you are being attacked, by the time, it's very fast, things are starting to happen. You need to find the right procedure, the right activity in order to restore capabilities at the time they were before you detect what's going on, a day or two before. Easily. You don't need a PhD in restore. You don't need a team of 15 people trying to figure out how to restore your stuff like it was 2 days before. You can't do that. You don't have the time. We don't have the time. It's just 2021. We're not 1987. Can't do that. Efficient, fast, quick, fine. I got hacked. I got encrypted. That's okay. Don't worry about it, because I have the right things in place in order to retrieve or to set the data back to a state where it was at a point in time where I have detected that my strategy and protection elements were in jeopardy. All right, so option for identification, right? What can you do? You know, we said, let me go back one slide here. I went a little bit fast. Identify. How do you identify? What can you do? You know, and what are the options for identification? You could tag your data. Why not? You could tag your data to make sure that those VMs are the ones that are critical for your organization. And you create a new VM, this thing needs to be automated. When you create a new VM and you make sure that this new VM has the same tag, and that tag is this data, this VM is crucial to my organization. So you don't have to think about it. Automatically, that's done. Data locality. It depends on the organization, depending who you are, what you do. This is very personal. But you could tag data to a certain geographical location. This data belongs to the US. This data belongs to UK. This data belongs to Canada. This data belongs to British Columbia. And the people that are responsible of that data have to be aware of their responsibility. And it helps you when it's time to restore, what to restore and how to restore. Where is the data? Okay. An important point I found often, I really discovered this as a new employee, so I still have that excuse of looking at centralized management console of the overall backup strategy put in place, Veeam 1. Well, unless you're like a super awesome, and it exists, script guru that's capable of crafting out of data, interpreting the data, you know, pivoting the data, and then creating awesome report, we need to have tools that are able to interact with our backend system, our backup system, to tell us what is going on, right? So important to have the right tools in place for the right strategy. So we're talking about tagging, right? Tagging. We could tag. This is the Veeam backup and replication console. You could tag some repository that you take in backup to a certain location, geographical localization. So you know where that data is. How would you know? You know, you can name a LUN 1, but if that LUN 1 is in US and you need to restore something in UK and try to figure it out, where is that data? So it's important to clearly identify words, or sorry, to use words that clearly identify a location of your data. Here it's wide, like Australia, Germany, UK, USA, but take this and own it. Take it and say, this data is marketing department, is all that. And if you do it, awesome. If you don't, it's never too late. We're gonna go through this. We're not gonna go through this. It's just a reporting on the Veeam 1 console. You know, it's clear, it's simple, it's fluid. You know, we don't need a PhD to understand what's going on. Anybody could understand what is wrong, what is right, what is protected, what is not protected. And what you do with it, it's your decision. But at least you know it, you know, and you make a little decision based on the right data, the right information. The 32110 rule, immutable storage, sure backup, sure replica. These words, take them, print it, put it on a Post-it, glue it somewhere, right? This is our Bible. Let's go with it. All these solutions that exist. Some of them, you know them. Some of them, you don't know them. Some of them, you don't know them yet. You will know them soon. When Veeam is talking about modern data protection, what do we mean? Is it protecting my infrastructure, my data, which is the fundamental crucial blood of my organization, like I used to do it 15, 20 years ago? No, the world has changed. AWS, Office 365, you got some databases, you got some VMware, you got a combination of everything. Maybe you got a combination of a little bit of everything, right? You got a bit of Nutanix, you got a bit of Oracle, you got a bit of everything. Backup and recovery is 1/5 or 20% of the conversation. Important to understand as guidance, cloud mobility is important. How do I go up and down? How do I go from east-west or north-south traffic? If you're a networking guy, this kind of words mean something. But how do I go? I'm down. All right, fine, I'm down. Can I restore there? There being the cloud, can I restore there? Yes, you can. But you need to think about it. Is it important for you? I need to monitor. We need data. We need analytics to know what's going on in the organization. We need to be able to orchestrate and automate failover, backup, restore from one infrastructure to another. It's no longer just VMware, just Active Directory, just OneDrive, no, it's a combination of everything. If you have a production site with VMware and you have your DR with Hyper-V or Nutanix, can you simply move VMs from VMware to Hyper-V? You need to think about that. It's very important because that is part of a strategy of fluidity of data. This is a fundamental element. And obviously governance and compliance, there's all kinds of protection, data protection for people's integrity, people's data. It's getting more and more complex because of thanks to AWS and Azure and all these cloud and all these data mobility all across the world. We need to be compliant. And we need to have system backup solution and partnership with manufacturers that are strong and aligned with worldwide governance and compliance. What can you do to protect? Well, type media. Yeah, people a long time ago said, forget the media, forget the tape. Tape is old. Tape won't make it. Well, tape is making it. I have to tell you that. You got some of the big vendors that are still producing as fast and as much as possible TL9 tapes. There is a reason, right? Because you need ultimately that copy. That makes CFOs sleep well at night, or CTOs sleep well at night, or CEOs sleep well at night. They need to have this magnetic data off somewhere that nobody knows where it is. You can replicate your VMs. Extremely important. Replicate VMs. Have a copy somewhere else. But again, be careful. You can have vSphere on one side, Hyper-V on the other, VMware on one side, Microsoft on the other. How do you bridge the gap? Right? Veeam Cloud Connect, an option. If you want to have a certain backup copy somewhere with people, that's the only thing they do. There is an option with Veeam called Cloud Connect, and you could deal with that. It allows you to send data somewhere, and that somewhere, it's another partner of Veeam managing that data inside out for you, right? And they will help you restore when you need that data. So you don't have to worry about it. These are strategies we build, or you need to build. Immutable backup. Immutable backup is phenomenal. It was not existing 10 years ago because we didn't think about it. Or is it because the threat wasn't there? Immutable backup, having a backup. You safe, you say, oh, you know what, I got backup and I'm fine with that. Yeah, you got backup, yeah. If I log in that system, can I delete it? Can I right-click delete? If I have the right account or the right access, or I'm going through somebody's computer that has the right access to what you think is safe, is it possible for me to right-click on a mouse and delete the backup? Yes. If that's yes, then it's not immutable. Is it somewhere else? Is it part of a solution out there that has the ability to lock it down? Is your data immutable flagged? You need to think about that. These are guidance again. These are not what you should be doing. These are thoughts that we shouldn't forget. 32110, 3 different copies of data. Why? For your organization, is it crucial? How much data does that take? How much space does that take? Is it crucial? What data you need to back up? 2 different media. If one fail, what do? You got 3 copies of the data on, on one media. Oh, good. I got 3 copies, 2 different media. It could be a tape, could be a cloud, could be USB key, whatever is for you, whatever feels good for you. Could be a cloud, could be in the trunk of your car, whatever it is, to different media. Do you have an offsite copy? Offsite, offsite, not next building, not next city, offsite. Do you have a copy that is absolutely, completely inaccessible from any kind of technology interconnection? A tape. Or is the data immutable? We talk about it. And the zero is, we do all this. We do 3211. We do all that very well. But then we fundamentally forget that maybe the copies we took on the two different media, out of which one is offsite, the other one is air gap, well, the backup don't work. They're not good because we don't test them, because we don't do that. We can't do that. We can't do that today. We need to make sure the backup is right. Can I restore that backup? How often do you test the backup? I need to be able to restore my VM and just say, hey, yeah, it works well. All right, shut it down. This backup is okay. Keep on going. I need to be sure of that. Monitoring and alert, we talk about it, right? So I was reading this. That was very, very interesting. And so this is the Veeam 1 console, right? And, the console gives you information, right? And there's a lot of information. Now, Veeam 1 detected suspicious activity on this VM. Really? I don't see anything. I don't see anything wrong. Well, why would this be triggered in a management console? Because I don't know. I'm not a coder. I'm not even a ransomware. I don't know how people behave. I don't know how the ransomware behaves. Some might behave a certain way. The other one behave another way. You need to work with somebody, with an organization that actually understands this. Now, when you do, hopefully I'll be with Veeam. But when you do, this is the tools we're providing. We're providing knowledge and understanding of what we're seeing. It is not normal to have, CPU running for X or Y backup job at 70% in a certain level, a certain threshold for a certain amount of disk write speed and at a certain network transmit speed. That correlation of data. You need to be able to, as a human, understand that the tool is looking at multiple points in time and gives you, they give you a guidance, they give you references, and they say, this is not normal. There is something I don't understand. It's out of my threshold, because that's what we do. We do backup. That's what we do. So we know when you disk write at 40 megabits per second, there is something weird. And if you write to disk at that speed for 7 days, there is something wrong. Come on. The network traffic at a speed like that for 7 days or a day, a 24 hours period of time is weird. It's not normal because we know it's not normal. We're just warning you. This is a partnership. That's what I like about this console. This is a teamwork. Another aspect of understanding our data is making our data work for us as well as an organization. You back up data, you're putting it in a certain place, you're analyzing, you're storing data, but then when you store data, that data needs to do something for you. You back up the data, you put it somewhere else, you're happy, everything is fine. What else can that data do? Can you reuse the data? Can you go through this data and extract from that data some information that could help you make a better decision, be more effective, have a better security review, right? Understand better how to classify that data, or have directly, we say it here, a business intelligence aspect. So can we take a backup, and out of those backup, reuse that data or utilize that data. It's not super cold. I need that data and just query it. Let the production data do what it does, produce, and use the backups that are taken to do off-production analysis of data. Better time to market for your organization, better correlation of people activity, data protection, whatever it is that your organization wishes to do with the data. Data is not a lost investment. Orchestration, SLA, dynamic, keyword, orchestration. Right, this is 2021. I said it before. This is not like 1987. A business continuity disaster recovery scenario orchestration is crucial. Something happened left, you go right automatically, right? I had a conversation with some business leader that said, well, I don't want my data. I don't want my infrastructure to flip over from left to right or right to left just like that. I need to be, that's why I say automatically. But if you press a button and you feel sure that the solution that you're working with allows an organization, the data to be from left, sent to right, powered back up, compliant, and effective, is this valuable? Maybe it is not. Maybe it is. But that's what we do. We simplify backup. We simplify the storage, fluidity of data. We go left, right, east, west, north, south. This is what we do. We're working with the data to teamwork with you and say, we don't think this is right. You're doing this right. Here's the easiest way to return to operation. Here's an option to orchestrate your business continuity disaster recovery. Don't think, by the way, that business continuity or disaster recovery is a backup strategy. It is not. That's another conversation, but it is not. A BCDR is a continuity, a business continuity. That's what it says. And we do that through what? Through Veeam Continuous Data Protection Replica. The Veeam replicas, backup and storage snapshot. We snapshot here, we send it there, we guarantee it's good, it's fast, something happened left, you go right, and you're back in business. That's what we do. Simple. But you could rely on it.
Laurent, you've got about 10 minutes.
I got 10 minutes. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you for keeping me on track. Sometimes I get passionate about these topics, and I'm going on like impressively. Something Veeam DataLabs. So if you don't know it, it's an interesting feature. What I like about it, right? And you never really like something until it happens to you at the wrong time, which it happened to most of us. And then you say, gosh, I wish, the sure backup. I take backup. We take backup. Everybody take backup. Like I was working with someone at Veeam that was telling me, Florent, we're not in the backup business. I'm like, oh no, I'm surprised. What business are we in? He goes, we're in the restore, secure, and reliable data protection business. I'm like, whoa, okay, that's not a good marketing phrase, but it sounds better. And it was backup, everything backup. You have hundreds of solutions, and it's complex to understand which one is the best and why. And because as human being, when we have to make a decision, it's just a normal behavior. Nobody wants to pay something for a lower quality. We want to pay an amount of money for a level of quality, right? So DataLab in Veeam, what I like about it is that there is that feature there. We could speak about on-demand sandbox and stage restore and secure restore. These are great. Sure backup. When you do your backup, what is the automated process inside that solution or your backup posture right now that allows you to guarantee 110% that the backups are working? You're backing up at VM. Is it working? The day you're going to need it, is it going to be working? Right? You want to practice a new upgrade, a new patch, can you do it easily? Yeah. When you restore something, is it virus free? because it's good. You restore something because you have a problem and you're restoring a problem. If you have a problem and then you restore a problem, then fundamentally you're recreating the problem, and then you become in that loop. That's not a good place to be. But sure backup and sure because you're guaranteeing that the data that you're backing up is working. It's working, it's fine, and it's gonna do what you want it to do when you want it to do it. When you want to do it, it will do what you want to do. So there's a lot of English here. If you detect a little French accent behind, it's fortunately or unfortunately, that's my background is French. All right, Restore, Secure, Restore. Interesting, like, come on, let's restore something that has no problem, please. Whatever you're considering to do, just make sure that when you restore something, it's secure, please, because you're getting into at the worst time. It's going to happen at the worst time, the worst moment. It's probably going to be on the weekend, definitely going to be around like Christmas time where you have a lot of other things to do. At that time, when business activity increases, risk of things to happen are increasing as well. Things that are happening at that time, please just consider anything you do with a tool that is very simple to operate, very fluid to manage. It doesn't require a PhD in backup. I will not go through this slide, but this is what we do. And you have in there different strategies. But then if you have any question, just contact Interware. We'll work together. We'll take an offline. We'll do an hour. We'll do a half an hour, whatever time you have. If there is an aspect you want to go through, but this is really, really, really exciting. All these things that we could do. How does the entire picture look like? Identify, build strategy, identify, protect, data tagging, data locality. What is that data belongs to which business, where it is, the 32110 rule, zero error, immutable storage. Is that backup indestructible, inaccessible by anybody? Monitor, be aware, work with a tool, which Veeam has called Veeam One. Work with a tool that team up with you, that doesn't slave you in front of a console, that team up with you, that you respond, you get attacked, fine, the strategy, we're protecting the strategy, we have detected there is something, we're responding to that something. Hey, fine, my left side is compromised, I'm going to the right, how efficient am I? And then once we went to right, what do we do? How do we restore? Are we sure that those restores are safe? Have we tested them before? Are we re-injecting a problem or not? The goal of Veeam is to start from a clean environment, bringing you back to a clean environment. That's what we do. We're gonna go through this. We'll send this. This is a great little white paper. I read it. It's very interesting. Rick Vanover, he's all over LinkedIn and is a great guy as a senior director. He has a great position at Veeam. He has a great philosophy. I really like the way that he writes. It's very simple. I don't like complexity. I like things that are simple because in simplicity, you find efficiency. Protect against ransomware. We'll send that. You could scan it if you have your phone. Just open the phone, scan it, or we'll send the link. Ernst Kasparek. If you look at the principal analyst, this gentleman here, Anis, I hope I pronounce his name right, Anis Kasparek. I don't know, man. This guy is really all about backup. He knows what we do, why you do it. He's such a breadth of knowledge. It's phenomenal. When he writes something, you could follow him. He's on Twitter and LinkedIn, but when he writes something, it's really, really, really efficient. And thank you. And tune in.